Good afternoon, happy stampers. My name is Judi Anderson from judistamps.com. Welcome to today's live class. I'm an independent demonstrator here in the United States, and I hope that you guys enjoy what I am sharing with you. I'd like to welcome our live viewing audience, both on Facebook and YouTube, and those on replay. Don't forget to say hello as you come in. And if you're watching on replay, just make a comment, replay, so I know you watched. I am going to make sure I am on live, make sure that I'm covering all my bases here. And if I am, I am streaming on StreamYard. So if you could please give StreamYard permission to show me your comments, then I can see them. Otherwise, I won't see your comments if you're watching on Facebook until after the video is done. So I see, I do have my phone on, so if I happen to glance over there and see you guys comment and come on, I will say hello, like Debbie and Patsy. Hello, how are you guys doing today? Oh, and Janine is on here too, and Ginny from the UK. Okay, so we have some people from all over the world. So remember, you can share this by just hitting that share button. And that is one of the biggest compliments you can give me. So this week we are using the Sunny Splash stamp set and the Butterfly Kisses Designer Series paper. I showed you guys a fun card yesterday. It was a fun fold, and several of you messaged me saying that how much you love that card. And, it is one that I have loved doing. And I don't think I've shown it for quite a while, that fold. And I don't think I've ever shown it on here. And some of you that have been my longtime clients said, hey, you never showed us that. Well, I know I have showed it, but if you didn't attend the event that I showed it in, you probably didn't see it. So I am so happy that I shared something that all of you are loving. And I'm hoping that today I'm going to share another project with you. And once again, I'm going to be doing most of the cutting on the live as requested by you guys. So let's flip you around and get started. Okay, so you will find the Sunny Splash stamp set on page 41 of the annual catalog. And the Butterfly Kisses Designer Series paper is on page 37. And this is actually part of the Butterfly Kisses suite, which is the Designer Series paper, some some resin shapes, these flower resin shapes. We used those yesterday also. A great stamp set with some butterfly bits and pieces and a die set. So if you buy the stamp set and the die set in the bundle, you will save 10%. But you know you're going to want the paper and the resin, so you might as well get the Butterfly Kisses suite suite collection that's found on page 36, the number. So that is in our annual catalog. And before we get started, I did want to mention, because I have been forgetting to mention, that our July to December mini catalog and our July and August celebration catalogs are going to be coming out soon. So can you believe it's less than a month and we're going to start our next mini catalog? And it consists of all holidays for the fall. You know what? There is even some designer series paper in here, and I can't show it to you because I can't open the catalogs. That covers almost all of the holidays throughout the year. It's a big pack of designer series paper. And celebration, as I said, is July and August. And here's the front of the cover, and here's the front of the mini catalog. So if you are not currently working with a demonstrator and would like these catalogs, please give me a shout out. My email is Judi@judistamps.com, and Judi is with an I. I am just going to grab a drink here because my lips are dry. I need to apologize for that. I knew I wouldn't go on long. So yesterday we created a fun card using one of the sheets of designer series paper in here, and we use this side on this one and the back side on parts of it. So I wanted to do a patriotic card today using this same paper. And as we went through this paper, I showed you this Starry Night paper. So this is what we're going to use. And I am using another product, the Resin Star embellishments. Now these are found in our January to July through June mini catalog that is retiring in just a few weeks. And these resin stars are actually on discount. I recommend you guys get them while you can. They're in the last chance list in my store. So don't miss out on those because I know you're going to love, I even use stars for Christmas. So Christmas and the 4th of July and any patriotic like Memorial Day, I use stars. So I have stocked up on these. So we are using today some of the designer series paper, and I chose this one, the Starry Night with the blue. I love the back side, but we're doing patriotic, so we're sticking to this side. We're using just a piece of window sheet, and this was just a piece that I had in my scraps. So we're going to make this work today for us. And then I have some basic white paper, and I forgot my 4 by 5 1/4 sheet for the inside. So we are starting with a regular card base that measures 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've already scored it at 4 1/4. I'm going to take my paper trimmer now, and we're going to do some cutting. So I am going to be cutting this at 1 1/4. So when I do these shorter cuts, I use this side of my cutting paper trimmer. So this is 1 inch and this is 1 1/4. So I'm going to put this up to the 1 1/4 line. I'm bringing my cutting blade all the way down. And now, once again, I've already scored this at the 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut at 1 1/4 up to that 4 1/4 line. Okay, and I'm stopping. So how I figure out where to stop, I'm lining this line up on my paper trimmer to that 4 1/4 line. If you do not have this paper trimmer, I cannot help you. I know several of you do not have ours. I recommend getting it because not just because I sell it, but because when I teach you things, it's so much easier to be using the same tools that I have and just the ease of using it. So now I've lined this side up to the 1 1/4 on that side, and I'm going up to that 4 1/4 line, and I'm stopping just like that. Okay, so we've got 3 pieces here. We're going to go ahead and fold on that score line, and I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish that score line. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces that are 1 1/4, and this piece is 3 inches, I believe. Yes, 3 inches, because 1 1/4 and 1 1/4 equals 2 1/2. From 5 1/2 is 3 inches. So I need some mat. So I want to do a white mat that's 1 inch by 4 inches, 1 inch by 4 inches, and then one that is 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. Now I'm starting with my middle mat. And you guys are going to see the reason why in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this one down very simply, and I'm going to center it in that. And if it's easier for you not to see that red on the sides, to center this, and when I do this, I eyeball this edge, and that edge, and my bottom edge should be the same distance then. So if I eyeball those 3 edges and put that down, that's centered in there. Now I want to put some designer series paper on here. So this is 2 3/4 by 4. So I'm going to need one 2 1/2 by 4, and then I'm going to need some that are 3/4 by 4. So knowing that, taking my designer series paper, paying attention to the back side, this is directional. So if I know I'm going to have a 4 inch strip, I want a 2-inch strip that you could either go against it. It depends on if you're going to use it this way or this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the 4-inch so that I'm going across. I'm going 4 inches, or no, 3 3/4 inches. Sorry, 3 3/4 inches, because we're going down 1/4 inch from our white mat. This is extra. We're going to turn this. We need 3 mats. This mat is 2 3/4, so I start with my largest mat first. So I want this one 2 1/2, and then my 2 side white mats are 1 inch. So I know I want to go to 3/4 inch. Now I'm going to reverse this because I've got the 3/4 on that side. And you guys may be thinking, well, what's the difference? You have more space to put your paper along this top edge to make sure your paper stays straight. So I'm going 3/4 inch there and 3/4 inch here. Okay, and then we have this piece left over, and that's a scrap. It's a nice big piece that we're going to be able to use on another project. Okay, so I know I want to put this in the center. We're going to go ahead and adhere this on, centering that right there. And there we go, our red, white, and blue. Okay, so now I am going to flip this. Now, there's a reason why we didn't add the white to here to begin with. I want to take my window sheet, and I'm looking at it, it's way too wide. So before I trim it down to 5.5 inches, I'm going to take my window sheet, and right now it's over 1.5 inches. So I'm thinking if I do it at 3/4 inch, holding that on there, that I will have a big enough strip. I'm going to keep this strip for later on another project. And then I want to turn this and cut it at just under, well, I'm going to do it at 5, and let me see, I'm going to need to do it 5 1/4 inches. And you'll see why in just a second. Okay, we're going to lift that up. I believe I'm done with my paper trimmer for now. So we have this piece of window sheet. We're going to want to add this to the bottom. We don't want to go all the way to the edge on each side because we have that mat that is going to go over the top, and that's going to kind of hide how we secure this. So many of you have asked me, how do you secure your window sheets? Just like this. I just put adhesive. I hide it under paper whenever possible. Now, I have gotten cards that people have done this fold on, and they've just attached it to the back of these flaps. I like, once again, hiding that window sheet, and I am lining it up right along the bottom edge here of this mat. Now it's going to help me in 2 ways. Number one, it's not going to stick out of the bottom of these mats. And watch this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere these mats. And if you have trouble lining your mats up so they're even, this is making it easy. I'm just going to line this up right on that mat, right like that. And by doing that, my mats should be even. Then I'm going to take my 3/4 inch Designer Series paper mat. Now you do want to watch this because this is a directional, even though you may not think of it, but if I do it this way, see how they're the opposite direction? So I want to run these all in the same direction. Once again, looking at those 3 reveals, those 3 sides for my reveals to line that up. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side. We're going to line up our white, basic white mat right to the bottom of that window sheet. And I basically went to the outside edge of that window sheet because I cut it 1/4 inch short. So it's an 1/8 inch up on each side. So just by lining that up, and see how that window sheet is hidden there. Now this is how the card's going to open. They're going to go to open the card, and these two are going to flap up, and then this one flaps next. Now you could do this smaller or all the way across. I'm choosing to do it all the way across because I am going to stamp on the inside of my card also. And we're going to put this here. Okay, so all our pieces are down. So now all we need to do are our elements. And you can decorate this however you want to decorate it. Hi Janet, how are you? Welcome, joining us today. Now, I mentioned yesterday that I sometimes use my Stamparatus to stamp images in case I decide I want to stamp them more than once on my paper. So what I'm going to do is I've got my paper here. It's just a scrap. And I'm deciding which swimsuits I want. And as you can see, these swimsuits will fit on. And to begin with, I was going to use two pieces and then one piece. But I think I'm going to use, we're going to line it up to the 3-inch line. And I'm going to hold this here, and it doesn't matter if they're the same height or not, because once again, I am going to be cutting these out. But I do want to leave enough space, and if I do it this way, I can get them a little bit closer. See how this one fits into the curves there? So I'm just going to do that. I see where I've lined it up. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and then I'm just taking a little bit of tape just in case I need to stamp any of these more than once. Now, like I said, this is a patriotic theme, so the colors I have chosen are Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to do my Daffodil Delight first. And being because I can wipe off the other colors and they're not as dark. I mean, the ink from the other swimsuits, and it's not as dark. So I do want to wipe it off. I could do these 3 individually, but I choose not to. Okay, so we're just going to stamp that one first. My dry erase eraser for even pressure, and let's see how that comes out. Okay, see how it's kind of a little bit blotchy. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I stamped this beforehand on a test piece of paper, and it came out perfect. It was like, oh, I may not need to use the Stamparatus, but I sure am glad that I did, because I want these images solid. I'm just cleaning this off because we're using the Stamparatus. I'm going to press and let it sit for just a second to absorb all that ink. And look how nice and dark that is. Okay, we are going to remove that one because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to the Starry Night. And we are going to do the Starry Night. And once again, I may not need to do this one twice because this is a newer pad and it is pretty well inked up. Oh, I still want to do it a second time though. I see a little bit of lightness in there. So we're going to do it a second time. I thought of doing a card today, and I may do my card for my basics class tomorrow and do it without having to cut these out. I am going to show another card tomorrow, and that's on my Getting Back to the Basics series, and that will be Wednesday at 4 o'clock Central Time, and that's my time zone. And so I'm hoping you can make it. It's something else that you guys have asked that I do. We're going to start by covering cutting paper tomorrow. So many of you say that you have issues cutting paper, and you know what? That one has come out nice and dark. I'm not going to have to do it a second time. So let me clean my stamp off. I got my Stampin' Chamois here. I should be using that. Okay, so clean that off, and we'll move this all to the side. So again, that is my getting back to the basics. And it is for you long-time stampers as well as beginning stampers. I think that some of the things I'm going to be covering are sometimes forgotten to be taught. We just assume people know these things. Oh my gosh, I thought my scissors were bent, and it's a piece of paper stuck on there. So we'll cut that off. And if you have anything that you have difficulties with, and like I said, we're starting with the basics. So I'm not going to be doing die cutting right away. I will be showing some simple techniques, some cutting. Like I said, tomorrow is cutting of your cardstock and layers, because so many people have trouble knowing what the sizes are, how to do their layering. Um, we all do YouTube videos and Facebook Lives, and I try explaining things as I go, but sometimes, when you've been stamping for 22 years, you kind of forget. So this is helping me getting back to the basics also. So I hope you join me tomorrow here. And we're going to cut this one out. This one's going to be a little bit trickier because it has an open straps at the top, but that's okay. And even though it's a two-piece swimsuit, we're cutting it out as a one-piece swimsuit. I almost did this one multicolored. I thought, oh, how fun would that be? But that's something that I'm going to be teaching in my Back to the Basics class. Yeah, some of the things that you may not think are basics are pretty basic. Okay, now I could leave that like this, or I could cut it. And I'm going to tempt fate, and I'm going to try cutting it. Let's see how this works out. It may not be such a pretty sight. Let's see. Oh, not too bad. Pretty simple line, so that wasn't too hard. And our last one, the polka dots. I love polka dots. And doesn't this polka dot swimsuit remind you of the 50s and the 60s? It sure does me. My mom had a polka dot swimsuit. Actually, it was polka dot and stripes. It was red and white stripes on the top, and it was polka dot on the bottom. And you know what, you guys? You could make this into a two-piece swimsuit by doing the top of this one with the bottom of that one. And I could get my mom's swimsuit, the look of her swimsuit, by doing that. So this, you can customize, play paper dolls, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have those three. So let's get our card again. And I want to do my verse while I am at it here. So we have make a splash. And let me get a strip of white cardstock here. I think this one will do. And, I think I'm going to go with the red today. I almost went with the Starry Night, but I could even go with the yellow. No, I'm going to go with the red. Make a splash. Hold it. I rocked a little bit. Do you see those lines on there? That's caused by rocking my stamp. I pressed too hard on my stamp also, on my ink pad, I should say. And I have got red ink all over my fingers. So I am going to clean those off because I'm bound and determined to have a clean card. Wipe my hands off real good. Okay. And we are going to fussy cut around our words. I love that look. I call it the bubble look. Remember in 6th grade, I had a crush on this guy in my class, and we used to sit close to each other, and all of us kids would have so much fun drawing words in different fonts and doing bubble words or bubble letters and stuff. And we would do things like cutting out, fussy cutting, even though we didn't know it was fussy cutting back in the day, our words out. And I am just going to make this pretty simple, go flat across the bottom and curve right around and straight across. Okay, there we go. So we're ready to put these onto our card. I am going to get up my silicone mat. I don't want ink all over the place here. My gosh, for a long time I couldn't find all my mats. I found all 6 of them now. I put them all in the drawer where they belong. One of them has something still stuck on it because I had put adhesive on something and didn't use it. Okay, so we're going to do this make a splash, and we are going to put it on that window sheet right here. Okay, then we're going to take our swimsuits and we are going to adhere them. And I want red, yellow, and blue. Red, white, and blue. In that order. You know, my mom, oh my gosh, she would go nuts over anything patriotic. And I do too. I drive my husband a little bit crazy. And she would even plant her flowers. And I always tell her, Mom, but there's not blue flowers. She says, but there's purple flowers. And there is blue and purple. So she would do purple flowers and red and white impatiens. She would do red geraniums. Oh my gosh, her geraniums used to get so big. I am so jealous. That's one flower that I have difficulty growing in my gardens. They just don't seem to get very big before the end of the season. And I don't like buying them big. Okay, so now we have these. And I do want to cover something here before I start decorating this. You got to remember that this front flap comes up. Okay, so if you put anything here, you can't attach it to here. Okay, so what I usually do is I look at it this way. Can I decorate it? And this is too much. So I know that's too much, but can I line these up? So I can line this one up in the center of the card because you don't want to go outside that line. Can I do these here so that when you look at this card, you really don't know that's going to lift up. Okay, so that's how I'm going to put it on. So I'm going to take these dimensionals off in the beginning here, and we're going to center this on our card right here. And we're going to put it down a little bit. I don't want them up so high. I'm going to put them straight in a row. Now I can adhere all of these because they will fit onto that 1 1/4 inch strip. Okay, but if you put something that's larger, so it can overhang, okay? So I could do this way and just not make sure it doesn't adhere to this part. Just make sure it's adhered to this flap. Okay, so I'm just going to line this one up here. That looks about even to me. Probably isn't. Usually when I do something like this, I would do the 2 outside ones first and then the inside one because you can kind of cheat that middle object in so it looks like it's straight. So let's see. I gotta pardon my hair if it's in the way. This right like that. So there. So we have it decorated, but I do want to stamp on the inside here. So I am going to take, I want to do the blue. So we're going to take our blue swimsuit and we are going to put it on the inside of our card also, our Starry Night. And I am going to warn you guys, this Starry Night ink pad is one of those ink pads that it seems like you get the ink all over. So we are going to put that right here. Hold it for just a second, no rocking, and lift it. And look at that. Ooh, perfect. You know, I really haven't stamped any bad images with the stamp set yet. So I am going to, let me see, make a splash. I'm going to do something about the 4th of July in here. I think I am going to do these stripes. Okay, I said that. And I removed my stripe swimsuit. Where did I put it? We might not be doing that one. We may be doing the yellow one on the inside. Yeah, we're going to do the, okay, I've got the yellow one right here. And I know as soon as I move some of this stuff here, well, here's my red. So we're going to do the blue and the yellow on the inside. And that's okay because we have all that red, right? So I'm going to just put this on the inside and hope I get a good image first thing. Hold it, hold my breath before I lift it, and let's hope. Ta-da, it worked. Okay, so we've got that as the inside, but remember I said I had those resin stars for the front because I do want to make this patriotic. Now you could stop here. You wouldn't have to put these resin stars on there, but like I said, I love, so we need to decide, do we want to put them in the background or do we want to put them on the suits? Because we could put them on the suits and we could do yellow, blue, and red. And I think that may be what I am doing. So we're going to put a yellow star, and I'm going to use the smaller stars because of the swimsuits. And I am going to do this one like it's a belt here. This one we can do right where that little doohickey is. So we've got blue there, just like that. And then we can do the red star. And I think we'll do that on the waistline too. Just like that. Okay, so that's our card. And see how you can take your just basic card base up a notch by just adding some cuts. You could do it just up the middle too. That window holes that make a splash. So both of these, when they're opened, are opened at the same time. Here we go. Oh, you know what? It would have been probably better if I did do that red, but that's a-okay. And then up. And then I will put a 4th of July verse in there once I figure out what I want to do. So there is our second card for the week using this Sunny Splash stamp set and the Butterfly Kisses Designer Series paper. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to come up with today, but tomorrow it will be back to the basics, and I will be using these two products again. So we'll be getting 3 ideas using this stamp set and this Designer Series paper out of the suite. Okay, we'll do it when in the suite and a little bit later, but for right now, I'm concentrating on using products alternatively than what they're shown in the catalog. So if you are needing those catalogs, once again, don't forget to email me as long as you're not working with another demonstrator. I'd love to earn your business. And until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping.